Welcome back to the Sooner Surge podcast that tells it like it is. And we're going to be talking a little OU women's basketball as they win their seventh straight game today over Alabama. A ranked win for Oklahoma and a big time win because it gets them the number 5 seed in the SEC tournament locked up. So, hey, before we get going, though, make sure you check out the Fan Stop at www.thefanstop.com. Also, hit the subscribe button. What are you waiting for? Hit that, turn on the notifications so you'll know every time we go live. And today, Jackson, senior day for Oklahoma. Aubrey Jones, Lexi Keys, Liz Scott, Nevaeh Tott, and Skylar Vann. All seniors. And it wasn't the seniors that really dominated today. It was, you had Beers and Verhulst just had great games at 22 and 24 points apiece. So, but those seniors will now be gone. That's the last home game for them. Well, home game in regular season, I guess. But just a great way to go out.
Yeah, for Oklahoma, this was big in which they lock up. It's that 5 seed in the SEC tournament now as well. And they also for sure clinched their spot to be able to host first. And is it the first round of March Madness? Maybe the second. But if you're Oklahoma, this is big. This is an Alabama team that just beat LSU on their home court. So Alabama, they were coming in confident. Oklahoma, they got up on Alabama quick. I believe it was 26-11 at one point. Oklahoma, they were up, and Alabama, they settled in, started to hit some shots. Alabama, they were up. It was 45-40 at one point. I believe it was 45-45 at halftime, Jay. So you talk about just a game that was definitely filled with a lot of runs in the first half. But Oklahoma, man, Reagan Beers continues to show why she is one of the best players in the SEC. Not only in the SEC, in the country. Her impact is felt on the defensive end, on the offensive end. Oklahoma, the majority of the season has not been an issue for them to rebound, and that is mainly due to Beers. Her presence in the post, the amount of times that Reagan Beers gets fouled is like no other player I don't think I've ever seen in basketball, because there's not much that you can do with how big she is and how skilled she is. There's not much to stop her. Like, you can't throw 2 or 3 at her because Oklahoma, they're a good shooting team. But Beers and Verhulst, as you said, they got it done for Oklahoma today. Made the plays when they needed them most.
Well, in this game, I mean, you could say this game free throw line because OU got the line 30 or 31 times, and Alabama like 14 or something like that. Maybe I think that's
Correct.
So, I mean, just a total domination, 13-point difference from made free throws in a game you win by 7. So there's a big time difference there. And OU attacked well, and OU had a lot of assists today too. I believe 20 assists for Oklahoma today. Had 15 turnovers. Still not great, but they did have a lot of assists. They were moving the ball well. You'd love to see it. 91 points, efficient, 46% from the field, I believe. So they were very efficient offensively. 7 straight wins now for the Sooners. And this is the time where you need to be playing your best ball. And right now they are. Now, granted, they haven't, in these last 7 games, played South Carolina or LSU, but they've played ranked teams and they've won them. So they're playing good teams. They're winning the games. We all know South Carolina they're a legitimate national title, Final Four. Like, I think OU right now, with the way they're playing, Jackson, I think a lot of Sooner fans right now are very optimistic about how deep they can make a run in this tournament, because I, for one, am. I think they can make a deep run in this tournament, Jackson. I really do. With the way they're playing right now, you got Beers, Verhulst playing really well, and they got a lot of weapons. They're playing good offensively. They're still turning over, but not as much. I like what I'm seeing from this team right now down the stretch.
Right, and for these teams that you see a lot of times make runs in March Madness, they have a star player. They have depth. They have elite scoring guard. Oklahoma, they have all that. And Peyton Verhulst and Reagan Beers, their bench, they can go 9, 10, even sometimes 11 deep. You'll see them go. So for Oklahoma, there's no reason why this team shouldn't at least make a Sweet 16 in March Madness this year. I think they're too good of a team. They've shown, even with how much they turn over the ball, which going into March Madness, you want to be playing your most clean basketball. As you said, they've been starting to turn it over less. And a lot of the turnovers that they even saw today against Alabama were just things where it's like someone starting to back up one of our players throwing it to the corner. That's turnovers almost at points you would live with in the game just because it's kind of a bang-bang thing. It's hard to really not have that happen, especially with the kind of system that Jenny runs. There's no plays. It's just players, they play off their spots and move to their open spots and everything. So I think that Oklahoma, as you said, their ability to make a run will be big. And Beers and Verhulst, they're going to have to take this team along with Skylar Van. I think she did not have, obviously, the senior night she wanted. She didn't even score, I believe.
Yeah.
But really, I think that this Oklahoma team, they have players that have been now to March Madness for some of them even their third year. So they have that experience there. Now, this is the year where maybe you make a Sweet 16, Elite 8 run. We saw them compete with LSU on their home court, almost win that game. So obviously they've shown that they can compete with LSU. Now it's can you compete with teams like South Carolina and USC and UCLA whenever it comes down to that time of the year?
Well, and this is the time of year where this was senior night, but down the stretch here, March Madness, you got SEC tournament coming up, then you got March Madness. That's the time where maybe a senior steps up. Maybe it's who knows, Lexi Keys. I mean, it could be any one of those that could just step up and have a massive tournament and help take you to where you want to be. And thing is, they're ranked 13th. They're on the cusp of being top 10 now. So I think you look at that. Okay, top 10, Elite 8. That to me is like where can they get to that Elite 8? And I think it starts at the SEC tournament. I know a lot of people will disagree with that. A lot of people say SEC tournament doesn't matter that much. It doesn't matter. They're got their seed where they're going to be probably in the NCAA tournament. It's not going to change much. I get all that, but at the same time, I think it does a lot for the team if they were to make a deep run in the SEC tournament, even if, like, make the semifinals. You're seeded 5, semifinals will be 4 teams left. Get to the semifinals, get to the finals. I think that would boost a lot of confidence for this team going into the actual March Madness tournament and NCAA tournament. So I hope that they can get off to a great start, have a good little run here through the SEC tournament. I think it would prove
right. And Oklahoma, outside of South Carolina, they've had no issue competing with all the top teams they face. If they don't turn,
they beat Tennessee.
They barely lost to Texas at home. They barely lost to LSU on the road. If Oklahoma, if they just don't turn the ball over, they probably win both of those games. If they don't have 30 turnovers basically against South Carolina, that's definitely not a 50-point loss. It's probably still a 10 to 15-point loss.
It's still probably 25 or 30. South Carolina's just different animal.
Yeah, but you've seen South Carolina too. They've even struggled against some teams. They lost They lost to a Kentucky team, Oklahoma, that was basically just a game from their star guard when she couldn't miss the whole entire game. There's not much you can do about that, really. But Oklahoma, I know a lot of Oklahoma fans, they hate the word close, Jay. I know, but this Oklahoma women's team, they are genuinely close to their goals. I think if they can take care of the ball, be solid on defense, continue to have players be consistent shot makers like they have been all year long, there's no reason why this team can't make a run, have themselves playing in a Sweet 16, Elite 8, even potentially a Final Four. You never know what could happen if you get hot.
Yeah, and they're hot right now, Jackson, 7 straight as they come down the stretch here. So great game today from Oklahoma, getting the win over Alabama, 91-84. Thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it. As always, you guys are the best. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.